So I want to ask two questions, man. You can answer whichever order. But how has all that grown you? The second one was, what have you learned from the Australian way of doing ministry? What are strengths, weaknesses that you've thought about applying here or not applying?
Okay, well, here's one way I can promote the blog that I wrote. Well,
Right.
I did write a blog post when I was in seminary, so that would have more depth and elaboration, I guess. So people can check that out on the link. But how do I summarize it? I'm pretty sure I've grown in ways that I'm haven't fully grasped yet or am aware of yet. But I think one is just, I think my resolve has increased. I think so, even though I do feel older and more tired. Even though my energy's gone down by a lot after 4 years, I think.
No, you.
Oh,
I think it's just the weather there. Once you're back here,
I feel it here. I do feel like just.
Maybe you're just wiser.
Yeah, wiser and tired. So
the weight of the word in your mind really.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that is true. I hope it's true and not just just getting old. But I think my resolve to so-called see something happen in our environment, the Klang Valley, where we are in church, like the resolve to see something happen with all that education that's been put in, for 4 years, and just what God has done in CRC all these years. I want to see something happen, and I mean by something I mean we see lots of things happening all the time, but God willing, would God please use us if He would like, and we would like to be a part of His, growing His church, growing the gospel, changing the mindset of Christians, prolonging the life of the desire of robust theology, that sort of thing. I think being able to study for 4 years has sort of drilled that conviction into me, I guess, and also seeing what it's like for Sydney, having the heritage they do. It's like, I want that. I mean, that isn't not identical, but something like, why not us? Something like that. Yeah. I'm sorry. I need to pause and plug in my battery. Just give me a second.
Okay, sure. While we wait for Van. Then, what about you? What was seminary life like? What were you challenged about? What was different when you came back from seminary? How long was your apprenticeship at that time? You did 3 years too, right?
No, I did 4. I did a bit longer.
Oh yeah, okay, because
Yeah. Seminary was challenging, mainly for me, was on the mind. So I think similar to Van. My program wasn't as robust as Van's, so I wasn't as challenged. But for me, it was still quite full. Learning languages, learning to integrate things, learning to think, learning to read lots of books, and just processing all that brain power. And more importantly for me, it was a lot of thinking about how all this applies to ministry. Because sometimes in seminary, and Van will know this, it feels like it's irrelevant, but we know it is, and Pastor Robin has trained us to think that all this is relevant. I mean, it's happened in history, so it's definitely relevant. We just have to think about how it looks like, where it will pop up, and how we can be even more faithful through all this thinking and studying to prepare for the next generation. So that was difficult for me. I wish I had longer time in seminary, but yeah, that was mainly it.
So when you all say this, it means there are things that you learned, which at that point you may think that why do I need to learn philosophy? Philosophy is like for the mind, like nothing to do with Christianity. Why do they teach me philosophy? Or why do I?
At least not immediately apparent in Malaysia, because Malaysians, we don't even talk about these things.
Yeah, so even like languages, right? Some people, I've heard comments from Christians. Why need to go so in depth in your Greek or your Hebrew? We have the English Bible already, got all the commentaries, got the study Bible. Why push for it? But from what I see and what you all have learned, I realize the depth needed. It may not be obvious immediately, And as you prepare to preach, as you prepare and go deeper into the text, the amount that we get as people listening is just amazing because of the depth that the knowledge the pastors have in the language helps us to understand the Bible better. If not, we too end up becoming like, Christianity is a happy-go-lucky, safe religion also in that sense. Yeah.
Amen. So, what are some of the things from Sydney, the Anglicanism there, Christianity there, that you process, you thought is good, you can probably adapt? What are some weaknesses maybe you want to watch out for here? I remember, okay, whilst you think, I remember last time when I visited you, this will forever be still in my brain. I was in a bus, and there was only a Sunday church. I forgot whether you were in the bus with me, man. I can't remember now. I think you were. I think you were somewhere else. I can't remember. But I remember overhearing a conversation of some just normal people in the bus talking about Greek translations. I was like, this feels like heaven. Like people on the bus talking about Greek translations. I feel like
probably my classmates or
maybe I actually remember, wow, will this ever happen, in Malaysia? And it was in a bus, so I was like, wow, I wish this could happen one day, hopefully.
Yeah, on that, I'm not sure whether you're going there, but if you say that, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be good if Malaysia was better resourced, right? You didn't have to fly all the way. It would be nice, isn't it, to
spending 1 million ringgit.
Yeah, and have to eat Australian food. Sorry, but I that would be amazing to have something closer to home, and yeah.
But I guess that's part of why we go over there, to just get exposed to what could be and what we can strive towards, right?
And the one thing I remember was the children in the kids ministries that I worked with. They are definitely different from the children of the same age in Malaysia. So that is a reflection of many things, of course, like not just churches, but schooling and parenting and a whole load of other things. But
different in what sense, right? Like better or
they're so they are more articulate. They ask very clever questions that are helpful if you want to grow them in thinking theologically, right? They ask very helpful questions, and just the way that the amount in which they express themselves, whether or not in primary school or in secondary school, because I was exposed to both age groups. And also, actually, I managed to get to know some university students who have spent their whole life in Australia, stuff like that. Just comparing their ability to read. It makes me reflect and think about how the amount of setbacks, I guess, that Malaysia has, because knowing how to read is going to be very important, isn't it, for lasting long as a Christian and growing. So it's hard because I don't know what the solution is to that, because there's so many reasons why we are what we are, and not everything can be solved by being the best church that we can possibly be for Jesus, right? So many factors. So, but anyway, it was something that made me think a lot, and I try not to be too discouraged about that, because really when I meet the Sunday school children in Australia, I keep thinking about my kids back home. I keep on thinking about home and how it's so different, and I don't really know what the answer is to that, honestly. But yeah, it's okay. It's good to at least have something of what we could be, what we could strive for, perhaps. I don't know how.
What's possible, at least, huh?
Yeah. Seeing children of a certain age, speaking and presenting and explaining what they know and asking such clever questions to Sunday school teachers, it just makes me feel so jealous for my own country and my church. I'm just like, oh my goodness, we want to get there, but how? Okay, so without having the answers, all the answers, just sharing some reflections. I'm not even answering the question, am I?
Well, sort of in an indirect way. But are there other things that you've learned or at least picked up from Australia that you thought can be applied here with some thought? It's tricky because I understand, like, we can't apply it wholesale. Like, we have to process it.
Exactly. It's just a different place and time, right? It's well, when I say time, I do mean time because they've had a lot more history and stuff. So I've been asked this question a few times now, and I've written all sorts of scribbles, but there isn't quite an easy answer to this. I think there isn't quite a
it's not a direct answer.
A Zoom conversation kind of answer. It's just, and it's also messy. I wish I knew how to organize all of it that I've written down. But,
okay.
Someday maybe when. Yeah, sometimes I think after a while processing it, since you've just come back to.
Yeah. In that way, in that regard, I do feel still quite fresh. Like I feel like on one hand, I feel like I've been here for ages and ages, even though it's been a month. But that's because of just the pace and the life in Malaysia and the ministry that we do. But on another hand, I think I would probably only so-called cash in all those reflections and scribbles and little things that I've picked up and put in my notebook. Maybe, I don't know, 3 years later, down the line, God willing. Not sure. Yeah, sorry for that. I did think about it. I still have nothing really worth saying at the moment. Sorry.
We'll revisit this maybe in about a year's time when we can see.
I need more time, I think.
Ben, I have something to ask you with regards to being a woman in ministry. Because I'm assuming that Moore College is a place where a majority would be male students, men studying theology. How was it like for you as a lady studying midst of them? And maybe that is one, and then secondly, as a single woman doing ministry there also. So in Australia, what was it like? And
in my 4th year, there were only 2 other single girls because the other 2 whom I met in 1st year got married. They got engaged and married, and this is common. So it's common that the ladies that come into college, they meet someone, they get married, they move out. So there are a lot of goodbyes. It's very common. It's like, welcome to college, goodbye, because they meet someone and then they get engaged and they move out. So that's really common, and also lots of weddings and lots of babies everywhere. And I'm more and more aware of my I shouldn't say identity, that's a little bit much. I'm more and more aware of my sex as I'm in college, but that's all right. That's actually a good thing. It's nice to see how ministry is like in a family, because I get to hang out with married people and with children. So I hang out with people who have children, and also get to know people who don't have children, and there's the very few single girls. There are not that many girls is one way of putting it. More men. For me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm cool with that because I'm going to college to learn. So it kind of doesn't really stress me out that much. In fact, I think I'm just thankful for the experience overall, because it's nice to see what it's like from other people's lives. I don't know.
It helps us to just think about it also.
If you ask me if I had time to date anyone, if that's what you really wanted to ask me.
No, I'm asking more of like being a single in seminary in that sense. What was it like? Was it difficult being a single? Was it difficult being a single lady in seminary in the midst of many men in seminary?
But yeah, people relate to, I guess.
Yeah.
I see.
Friendship, whether there was just the whole inferiority perhaps.
I think it would have been nice if I could pack up some of my girlfriends from here and go there. That would have been nice. We put Penny in a
Studying together.
that would have been fun, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like that. This is Penny's dress. Yeah, I think that would have been so fun, and I think that would have been different. But it's not like there weren't any single girls there. I think I already mentioned. It's just that, you know, maybe it just takes a little bit more time to warm up to people, not just new people, but also, you know, even though they're my sisters in Christ, we just have lots of differences, and Australian culture versus Malaysian culture just being one of them, right? Also, just our shared experiences are different.
Yeah.
So, which is good. I mean, it was nice and interesting to learn their background and how so different it is from me. But at the same time, yeah, there's from my perspective anyway, there wasn't a lot of time to make deep friendships. Not a lot. You have to be quite, you could say, you have to be picky eventually. Like, and everyone knows this. Like, you know, you can be a lot relaxed in the first year, second year, but as you keep going, you kind of need to build or deepen your friendships. And I did make a couple of friends. So the closest people got to know is a married family, and so that was fun. But yeah, I think I'm cool with not having my girlfriends around with me. It's all good. I mean, I'm there to study anyway. So, and I don't know any different. Like, I don't have an alternate reality that I can compare it to. If you wanted to know whether it was hard or not, I think it was hard. Yeah, it was hard. Not that the men in seminary were nasty or anything. They were very nice, very kind. Yeah.